Her coaching expertise is amazing. She's like no one else. And I have worked with other coaches in the past. I would say number two would be the coursework that Lisa has put together. The modules are amazing. And if you follow the modules step by step with her program, you cannot go wrong. I would say number three would be the biweekly coaching sessions that are a minimum of 2 hours each. And sometimes they go way longer. So you may be talking about 4 to 5 hours of coaching every week. The material that they cover is incredible. The women in the program, which range from all ages, their vulnerability on the calls, it's not replaceable by anything. What would I tell others about joining this class? Oh, that's easy. I already have. I've told friends, join this class because you can't go wrong. Join it and don't wait. Don't waste any more time. I thought the money was a lot. Now it's like, doesn't even matter. My experience in END has been absolutely amazing.
All right, everybody. So that's just a little taste of what women experience when they go through our course. And before I begin, I just want to welcome all of you to Land a Man on Your Level. This is so exciting. And I want to introduce my team. We have Diane Pekmazian, and Diane is our enrollment coach. She is extraordinary. She's pretty much the first person that you will meet in this process. So she has been with us, Diane, how long? 3 years? 3 years already. Wow. And Diane is responsible for enrolling hundreds of women in this course and starting their journeys to change their lives. Michael is our amazing operations director. He does all of our IT. He is just, we wouldn't be where we are without Michael. He is such a gift to us. And Michael and Erin are a package deal. So Erin is Michael's fiance, and Erin is she is our call coordinator. She manages the whole back end of our program. She is absolutely does all of our team management and all. She is extraordinary. And last but not least, we have Elizabeth Bridges, and Liz can't get her camera on. She is in Hawaii this week. She agreed to come on for the first day, which was very, very kind of her. And she won't be joining us for the rest of the week. But Elizabeth works as my mindset coach, so she helps do the Q&A calls. This woman is fierce. She has been through our course, through END and our mastermind. And this woman is going to kick your ass in the most loving way, in the fiercest way. But she is going to love you through this process of breaking down your barriers, your walls, calling you out. If I don't call you out, she will. So you got, and if we don't call you out, Benjamin will. So, and the one person who isn't here is my husband, Benjamin, who also works with us. He comes on the Q&A calls to give you all a male perspective. And Benjamin writes the profiles for our beautiful clients. So we are very, very happy to have this amazing team to bring this course to you. So let's begin. I don't know if all of you were able to get your workbook. Michael, if you could put that in the link, that would be great. But this is the workbook that we have made, 20-page workbook. So it's a downloadable, thanks to Michael, it is a fillable PDF, or you can go ahead and print it out if you prefer to write. And you will need pen and paper today. If you don't have that, you want to grab it. I'm sure most of you are at your desks. So if you don't have it or a journal, go grab it because you're going to want that for today. So a little bit of housekeeping. Let's just do a little like what's going to happen. So this masterclass will go for 5 days, and we will be I will be doing training all 5 days. It starts at noon Eastern time. And then there's going to be a few bonus days. So you don't want to miss them. There's going to be there's going to be Q&As, and there will be replays sent out after each day. I am going to tell you, if this matters to you, if this part of your life is really important to you, you need to be on these calls live. Do not say, well, I'll watch the replay. It is not the same. It's like watching a ball game or a basketball game after the game is over. It just doesn't have the same power as being on something live. And if you really want to change this part of your life, then you have to make changes. This part of your life has to be a priority. We have 15-minute strategy calls for all of you. I am going to encourage you to book them with your concierge. Erin and Diane will be doing those calls to get the most out of this masterclass. You want to book a call, that's our gift to you. So please sign up for your 15-minute call. Make sure you get them. They will go away on Wednesday. So if you do not book your 15-minute strategy session today or tomorrow, you can book it for later in the week, but you must book your 15-minute strategy session, or you will not have that option again. We have a group called Finding the Guardian of Your Soul. Everything gets posted in that group. We will be responding to your posts. We want you to share what you're learning. We want you to come in and introduce yourself. So please, Michael or Erin, if you can put that link in the chat for everybody, that would be great, so that they can sign up for that. And there is a contest. So there's going to be 3 ways to win. And those of you who take this seriously are really going to show up. So the first thing is, the person who posts the most in the Facebook group is going to get a swag bag. And that swag bag has the Lisa Shield pen. It has our beautiful journal. There will be some other gifts that are all branded and very beautiful things. So please post your wins, your breakthroughs, your discoveries in the Facebook group. We will be monitoring that, and the person who posts the most is going to get this amazing swag bag. And then the person who shows up, we're just going to do a wild card. We're going to pick somebody who shows up all 5 days for the live. So that person is going to get a profile written by my husband, Benjamin. And those profiles are only available to the women who are in our course. So this is an amazing, amazing gift. Those profiles can be game changers. And if you don't think that profile matters, we are going to be talking about that. I think it's on day 3. We will be discussing profiles, what to put in your profile, what to leave out, what turns men on and off and all. But Benjamin will write your profile for you, and it's gold. And then for the first 5 people who sign up for our course, who join the course, they will get a special session with Benjamin and me. So those are the 3 gifts, and you want to make sure that you sign up. So without any further ado, let's begin. So there are 3 reasons why this course is so unique. The first thing is, it is a transformational journey. This is not just dating advice. When you do this process, you go through an entire transformation. Like Joan said in the opening video, she is a different person. And this is a woman who's in her 60s who is talking about what a deep level transformation she went through. And you didn't see the part in the clip where she said all of her friends are saying to her, "What are you doing? You're a different person." So it is a transformational journey. Also, information is not transformation. So many times you'll go and do a course or a program, but they give you a lot of information. But if you don't apply that information, there's no transformation. So if you are just sitting and reading and YouTubing and watching master classes like this, and you are not taking what you're learning and using it, you will only remember 10% of what you learn in this master class. And 2 months from now, you'll probably remember about 20% of that if you're not using it. So you need a process, a plan, and that's what this work gives you. It also gives you a community. And this is so important because so many of you think you want one on one coaching. And I would have thought that too going into a process like this. But I have to tell you, that you learn more from those 4 or 5 hours of coaching that Joan talked about on those calls. It is so transformative because you're not just being able to learn from your journey, you're learning from the journeys of all these other women and the mistakes they're making and what the questions they're asking that you're not even thinking to ask. And so this is absolutely wildly transformational. And you get to make amazing friends out of this. In fact, I actually had one of my former clients come and spend the weekend with me. I made a friend out of my course. So the people that we attract, the client, the women that come into this process. You heard several of the women talk, or a couple of the women talking about that in the opening video. They're extraordinary. So you have a community of amazing people. You have a transformational process, right? That is going to help you apply everything you're learning. And then you have this beautiful community at END, friends for life, women that you are going to grow with and bond with, who probably will know you, many of them better than your own friends, your closest girlfriends that you've known your entire life, because the women get so emotionally naked and vulnerable on these calls. And it's beautiful and bonding and inspiring. All right, so let's dive in. So today, we're going to talk about freeing ourselves from the past. And this is where this course begins. If you do not free yourself from your past, you're going to be lugging all of that baggage into your next relationship. And you don't want to keep doing that. You want to let go of the fear and the blocks and the things that you are holding on to. And what is so beautiful is that in the first 4 to 6 weeks of this program, all you do is focus on putting together the pieces of the past so you can move forward in a whole new way. So look, we all have baggage. We've all been hurt, disappointed, cheated on, lied to. Men can really be jerks. And many of us have encountered those men who have, we've put our heart and soul into these relationships. We've had children, gotten married, had children. Many of you have paid for your former husbands and boyfriends because you thought that that's what you needed to do. And you thought they'd step up and that they would rise to the occasion, and they never did. And then some of those men even went out and cheated on you. They didn't show up for you. And on top of it, they broke your heart. And it's hard to go out now and trust men. And believe me, I've been there. I was so disappointed by the men in my life. I never knew a good man, or if I met a good man, which I probably did, I was going for all the wrong ones, like a lot of you, because my father was kind of a jerk, and he was my model. And so I was going after the wrong man. So why do we need to let go of the past? Because it keeps us stuck. The future is this beautiful, wide open field. We can create anything we want. You can have the most amazing man, but you can't do it if you're still stuck in the past. And if, it's hard to let it go because it's part of your identity. It's part of how you see yourself. I'm the woman who was cheated on. I'm the woman, whose husband was a freeloader. Whatever your story is, that is a part of how you see yourself. And it's a part of your identity. And sometimes we hold on to that because we're so afraid that if we let it go, we're going to get hurt again in the same way. But it doesn't have to be that way. So in your workbook, I ask you, how do we let go of the past? How do you really start that process? Because I know most of you have tried and you've been trying to do that and you haven't been completely successful, or you thought you'd let go of the past and then you go out and start dating. You run right in to the same kinds of jerks and liars and cheaters and addicts and narcissists that you did before. After all the work you did, you go right back out and you run right into the same people all over again. Well, I have a process for letting this go. So the first thing we do is we look at the voices in your head. We all have voices in our head. And the problem is those voices are part of who we are. They lie to, we have a voice that lies to us, that's negative and mean, and it pulls us into the past. And it tells us horrible things. It takes all the awful things and bad experiences we've had. If you had a narcissistic partner, that person probably gaslighted you and talked down to you and said horrible things that you have probably internalized. If you had a critical parent or parents like I did, you may have internalized that voice that you're not good enough from a very, very early age. And now that voice is inside of you, and you can't even distinguish it from your own voice. And we call that voice your frenemy. And I love that word. There's many different words that people use for the voice of fear or whatever, but I call it your frenemy because it really is a frenemy. It's an enemy that's posing as a friend. And it's trying to protect you, but it's doing it it's doing it by creating fear to keep you small so that you don't take risks and you don't get hurt because it doesn't know how to guide you in a positive way. And then you have a voice of love, of compassion, of kindness, of patience, of gratitude. And this is the voice. I know there's a spiritual part of most of you, whether you're a Christian or a Muslim, or you consider yourself spiritual, or you're a Buddhist or you're Jewish, whatever your faith, whatever your spiritual beliefs are, you have this beautiful part of you that really is connected to the divine, to the universe in some way. And that is the part of you we call your naked dater. My course is called Emotionally Naked Dating. And your naked dater is the woman that you are going to become because you're going to learn how to silence the voice of the frenemy and amplify the voice of the naked dater, of the voice of love. And you can call this your higher power. Uh, there's so many names for this part of you. And we all have both parts. We all have a frenemy that holds us back and pulls us into the past. And we all have this beautiful naked dater. And that's the woman who's going to attract the guardian of your soul. That beautiful naked dater, that part of you, like Joan in the beginning of the video, who said, I'm transformed. I'm not the same person, because she's becoming her naked dater. And that's what we do. So, one of the ways we help you talk to these voices and access them inside yourself is an exercise we call the switching hands. And this is an amazing process because when you write with your non dominant hand, it accesses a completely different part of your brain, and it slows you down. It slows down your thought process. It's weird and awkward if you're not ambidextrous. If you are, then this exercise may not be great for you. But for the rest of the world that isn't ambidextrous, this will be a powerful, life changing process. And I want to do a little exercise with all of you right now. So I'm going to ask you to grab your pen and paper. And in the switching hands exercise, and we use this process all throughout the Naked Dating, the END course, the Emotionally Naked Dating course. So this process is woven through the whole course. And you put the pen in your dominant hand, the one you always write with, and that is your naked dater. That's the part of you that's calm and centered and, knows her stuff. That's the part of you that knows how to get things done and that's loving and kind and compassionate. That's everything that's beautiful and wonderful and good about you. And then there's that fearful voice. That's your non dominant hand. That's the voice that holds you back, that keeps you from having the love that you want. This is the voice that tells you, I want a man, but I don't need a man, right? That I'll be fine without a partner. This is the voice that causes you to rush into the wrong relationships, to be impulsive. This is the voice that lies to you and tells you that you're ugly and fat and you're too old and that you'll never get what you want, that there's something wrong with you, that you're defective. Why even bother? That's your frenemy. So, what I want you to do, and we're going to take we're going to take just a couple minutes here because it's a little, you really want to do this. So, I want you to put the pen in your dominant hand and I want you to write on your paper, your journal, your workbook. You can do it anywhere, but you have to do it. You have to actually write it. And want you to write one reason I'm unlovable is. So with your dominant hand, write one reason I'm unlovable is. And just take a moment to write that out. And then I want you to switch your pen into your non dominant hand. And I want you to write the answer. One reason I'm unlovable is. And then write the answer with your non dominant hand. And I'm curious what that felt like. Was it weird? Did it bring up emotion, immediate, just immediate emotion? Did you feel some resistance? Many of you are in your heads, not your hearts. And it's hard. Mother Teresa said the longest distance is from the head to the heart. It can be so scary to connect with your heart, to feel how much you really want this, how important it is to get this solved. I know I was terrified. I was scared to death to face this part of my life because I had suffered so deeply. And, when you have a father that doesn't even recognize you. When my mother passed away, she passed away of breast cancer when I was 15. And my brother, unfortunately, threw away almost all of her journals, which was a shame. But there was one journal in that my brother had saved, and I read it, and there was an entry in there where my mom had written that, you know, Gary came home from work and Lisa had waited, was so excited to see him and said, Daddy, Daddy, will you come play with me? And he completely blew me off. And that broke my mother's heart. And that was really about the amount of attention my dad gave me. When you have a father that never told you you were beautiful, never really noticed you, I'm sure many of you can relate to what I'm saying, or a husband that treated you horribly, or a boyfriend that was abusive, or who wasn't present for you or didn't show up for you. It's really hard to believe that this could ever happen for you. So, one reason I'm unlovable is, and maybe some of you want to post that in the chat if you're brave. The two questions were, one reason I'm unlovable is, and then you write the answer with your other hand. So Tara says, let's see here. Let's see what Tara says. Oh, so many of you are posting. It's kind of hopping around. So because I feel broken. Right now, I'm too strong and independent, not enough, not good enough, left. I'm hurt, confused, was told like my mother, which was not a compliment. I'm too sensitive. I'm too different. Stephanie, oh my God, I get that one so much. I had my girlfriend visiting this weekend. We both had that one. Yeah, you're too different. I'm too independent. I like to be in control. I'm blunt. A lot of you, I'm independent. This is a big one, ladies. This independence thing. And that's a big turnoff. We're going to talk about that we're going to talk about that later in this process, about being independent. I'm not open to being vulnerable with my feelings. And I don't trust others with my feelings because I'm dominant and successful. I'm mean and bossy. I have too many walls around my heart. I think everybody here relates to almost everything everybody wrote. It's unbelievable. And one of the beauties of just look at this, how vulnerable everybody's being in the chat. And this is what it's like on our Q&A calls, only even more so. Women opening up their hearts and sharing, and everybody relating to what we're all saying. So these walls have to come down, and especially that facade of being too independent. A man cannot connect with you if you're bossy, if you're independent. Men don't feel safe with women who they're not going to bust down your walls. They can't. The only person who can take down your walls is you. You are going to have to take down those walls. And the problem is the men that you usually take them down with are the narcissists and the avoidance and these guys that are players because they're relentless. They come on really hard and fast and strong, and they sweep you off your feet. It's like a magic trick almost, sleight of hand, because they make you think, that they think you're so special and wonderful. Well, the real process of getting to know a secure man doesn't feel that way. It's not smoke and mirrors. It's the real process of spending time together, slowly unfolding over time, getting to know each other, not starting out with a big, with chemistry and fireworks. Real love happens when it unfolds and you really get to appreciate the nuances, the subtleties of how amazing this man is. Because a man like my husband, they're not going to come in and sweep you off your feet. He wouldn't do that. He's too respectful. He wouldn't want to lead a woman on and make her think he was all into her right from the get-go if he doesn't know her. He was unbelievable. He showed up. He was present with me. He was consistent. He was kind. He was generous. But he wasn't trying to manipulate me or sell me on a relationship too soon because he wanted to see if there was really something there, just like I did. So a lot of you have something called hidden ambivalence. And this is another thing that we talk about in my course. Hidden ambivalence is a big deal. You want it, but yeah, you talk about how much you want a guy. You read books and, you watch YouTube videos in your spare time and yeah, you go on the apps and all, but you're not 2 feet in. You're straddling this. You've got one foot in being nonchalant, making other choices, doing other things, working, spending time with your girlfriends, your grandkids, your kids. You travel by yourself or you go on girls' trips, but you keep yourself busy. So you don't have to really feel that you're alone. So we had a woman on a breakthrough call once, and I was listening, sometimes I review the recordings and I was listening to the recording and it was gut wrenching. She said, the reason I'm on this call is because I've been fine. I've got my friends, I've got my kids, I've been, yeah, I go out and date, but there's been nobody great. And then at New Year's, for the first time, usually I have a party and I'm surrounded by all my friends. But this year I went to a party and I was all alone. The clock struck midnight and there I was. And she said, I just broke down sobbing. And she said, that's when it hit me. I don't want my life to be like this. I don't want to spend another New Year's alone. I don't want to eat another dinner alone. And so she booked a call and she signed up for the course so that that won't be the rest of her life. But some of you, you say you want it, but then you make other more important choices. Oh, but I have to do this or I have to do that. Or, some of you will get on calls with Diane and you will say, oh, I really want to do this, but I'm traveling and I'm doing this and I'm doing that. And I've got to, I've got to fix my refrigerator, or I've got to do that thing. And you put, you're on that call, you're pouring your heart out to her, telling her how much you want this and how sad you are. And then it comes time to make a decision to join the program. And you do what you always do. You put 10 other things in front of it and say, yeah, I need to think about it. It's not the right time. You've been doing this your whole life. When is the right time to take this seriously? So that's what hidden ambivalence looks like. You get on the call, you go through the whole thing, and then you say, yeah, no, now's not the right time. So you say you want it, and then you back your little self right out of it. So, what do we do in my course? How do we help you connect to your dream? One of the things I'm going to ask you to do tonight is to write a love letter to the guardian of your soul. To write a letter to the guardian of your soul. What would you say to that man? Do you even know? What would you say to him? If he were standing in front of you right now, what would you tell him? How would you speak to that man? How would you call him into your life? The way you start that letter is, I know you're out there and I'm not quitting until we find each other. And this is in your workbook. I know you're out there and I'm not quitting until we find each other. Think about what a powerful statement of intention that one line is. I know you're out there. And I'm not quitting until we find each other. No matter what happens, no matter how hard it is, no matter how many times I get my heart broken, I am going to find my way to you. And nothing is going to stop me. That was how I started the journey to find the guardian of my soul. Now, what is the guardian of your soul? Maybe some of you are actually wondering. We talk about this in my programs. So, again, I said this course isn't like anybody else's program. Well, a guardian of your soul. It's so hard in this particular field to, to really be able to give you a unique experience because there's so many love coaches, right? When I started, I was actually one of the very first love coaches, just, little factoid there. I was dating my husband, Benjamin, and 3 months into dating, he said, I was importing, I had an importing business. And he said, you should really be a life coach or a therapist. And because I was doing all this spiritual work and stuff at the time, and my priorities had definitely shifted. And so I sold my business and I enrolled in coaching training. And when I decided to do that, I thought, well, what am I actually good at? I'm not just going to sit there and give people advice. And I don't just want to coach people for the heck of it. And so I I'm sorry, I got distracted by the webinar chat. And so I became I said, look, the only thing I know how to do is help women find love. And this was in the very, very early days of online dating. And so people weren't even doing this. All my friends were saying, well, the kind of guy I would like to meet would never be online back when I started dating. Gosh, it's been almost 25 years ago I started online dating. And so people would say, nobody, the kind of guy I want wouldn't be online. Well, I was getting my master's in spiritual psychology at the time. And my husband wrote one of the books that I read for my master's program. So that was pretty crazy. And so I would say to people, well, I don't know. There were 260 people in that master's course. And I stood up one day and I said, a lot in class. And I said, a lot of you have said to me, the kind of guy I would be looking for wouldn't be online. And I said, well, one of the guys who wrote one of the books that we read in this class was online and I'm dating him and he became my husband. And in that book were the words, Benjamin had written one of the essays. The book was called Handbook for the Heart. And it was the best, I'm not just saying this, it's a collection of essays by people like Deepak Chopra, Marianne Williamson, the Dalai Lama, that he and his best friend interviewed all of these people and they wrote that book. They wrote the essays for each of them from the interviews. And Benjamin had written one of the essays, and in that essay, he was talking about love and how love is our birthright. And he said, he was talking about romantic love, and he said, and we will be guardians of each other's souls. And little did he know that that would lay the foundation for the relationship that he and I have. A guardian of your soul, a soulmate is a noun, a guardian of your soul is a verb. And this really is, as far as I'm concerned, the ultimate relationship where two people are so selfless and so giving and feel so safe and loved in their relationship that they can surrender to the relationship and just be there for each other's souls to help one another in this life's journey. And so when you write that love letter, you are speaking to your future partner's soul. You're tapping into his soul and you're saying, I know you're out there and I'm not quitting until we find each other. And I will do whatever it takes, but I will find you and I will become whoever I need to become. But I know that there is an extraordinary love out there, me, and I am going to find you. So that's what this letter is. What do you want? How do you want to connect with this man? How do you want to spend your time? How will he treat you? And how will you treat him? That letter is laying the foundation for the entire journey to come. Because you're creating this. You are creating this. Every single choice you make, every yes, every no, every time you go on the apps, every man you go out with, every email you send, every step you take. That's how important this journey is. And that's how important it is that you start to get in touch with what you're longing for. And the more you are able to admit to this, the more you're able to tap into it, the more you'll be able to create it. I had never seen a relationship like the one I have with Benjamin. But I have an amazing imagination. And I have an incredible heart. And I was willing to trust my heart and show up for myself and believe that I could have an extraordinary love. And that if it was available to one person, why wouldn't it be available to me? I didn't have to be perfect, and neither do you. You don't have to be perfect to have a perfect love. You need to find a man that you can trust. A man who is good and kind and true and knows how to show up for you and love you in the way that you want to be loved. And you have to open your heart to him. You can't be afraid. You can't hold back. You can't play games. When I'm not ready to talk about something, my husband doesn't stand there and argue and push. He says, okay, I'll be in my office when you're ready to talk. Come on in. He'll ask me once, would you like to talk? He'll ask me twice, would you like to talk? And then he'll say, okay, I'll be in my office anytime you're ready. We don't play games. And it's okay if I need a few minutes to collect myself. I'm also pretty emotionally mature and I can do that quickly, but I had to become that woman. Because with a guy like Benjamin, he's not going to play those games. So you have to be willing to go through this process and work on yourself and become mature. And one of the things I notice and have noticed actually a lot lately with many of the women in the course is that they're extremely accomplished in their work lives and they're incredibly immature. And I'm not saying that as a judgment, it's just there's a lack of maturity. They have not matured in this part of their lives. They're not mature with men. And I'm not talking about being mature like in your business persona. I'm talking about being a mature, evolved, feminine woman. Because a lot of you want to attract these really great guys. And I'm telling you, they do not want a man in a woman's body. And they don't want a woman who's putting on an act. You know, you can tell authenticity and so can that. They can tell authenticity. They can tell a woman who is truly in her heart. You cannot play a game, put on an act. We had a woman who did the course. She also went through our elite mastermind course. And this woman would say to me, well, I'm so fun on the dates and whatever. And I said, you know, because then she would talk about her fears and she would share, you know, what was really going on. And she wasn't willing to be vulnerable. So she could put on this act of being, you know, funny and whatever, but she couldn't get into her heart and really talk about her, you know, her life, her past. She was estranged from her parents. And she was terrified if a man would find out about that and what he would think, you know. She's now engaged and she's with a wonderful guy. But she would say, Lisa, you know, I'm fun and I'm playful and whatever, but she wasn't vulnerable. And men could see through that act and they weren't asking her out again. And something you all need to know is you sit there and say, well, I can't find any good guys. I'm going to tell you something. These men can tell a woman who's in her heart and who is available. And if you, what you may think you're available up here, but so many of you wrote in that chat just now about how your hearts are not open. You're too independent. Well, no guy is going to get past your independent act. He's going to spot it in a nanosecond. And he's just not going to ask you out again. And he may catch that within a few words on a text. Those attitudes come across. And when, you know, it's kind of like I like to joke about the people who really can spot a fake Rolex are the ones who have a real Rolex. They can tell. And so can men tell if you have all of these walls up. They're looking for women who don't have walls. They're looking for women who are in their hearts. And so that is what we work on. That's what we do in this course. We help you take these walls down and we help you get unstuck from your past so that you do not keep carrying it into the future. And to do that, you've got to take down these walls. You've got to put the past in perspective. You've got to get a handle on these voices, the frenemy and the naked dater. And I know this sounds like a lot of work. And there's work to be done. Most of you want, you know, it's like you want to be Mozart, but you don't want to practice the piano. You want to paint like Monet, but you don't want to go through all the, you know, the growing pains to become a great painter. You want a phenomenal relationship and you think you deserve it because you've been, you know, you've raised kids, you've traveled the world, you're a good mother, you have a great job, you have a beautiful home, you have great taste. All of those things are wonderful assets. Don't get me wrong. But if you can't sit across from a man, a really hot guy who's got a lot going on, a man that you really want to attract, and if you can't be in your feminine, I mean, there's a million women who have great careers and money and beautiful homes and all of that. He wants to connect with your heart. He wants to connect. He wants you to bring him into his heart. These are the things you have to know how to do. So, yeah, there's some work to be done. And if you don't get this part of your life together, it's a wish and a hope and a prayer that you're just going to fall into the right relationship. And Sana has said something amazing at the beginning of that call. She said, the reason to do this is because the quality of the relationship you're going to have is going to be so much better. The quality of the relationship you are going to have is going to be so much better because of doing this work. And by the way, Sanaz is now moving in with her boyfriend, and she has literally one of the best guys I have ever met. Because I get to meet a lot of the guys, and my women meet some extraordinary men. And I have to tell you, I love her guy. He is so on it. He is so together. This man is so smart. He is such a gentleman. He's such a man. She knocked it out of the freaking park, and she was a great student. So the work that you're going to do, to the stuff that you are going to learn is going to give you a relationship that is unlike anything you would do on your own. So I want to give you tonight's homework. It's in your workbook. It is on page, let's go see. This homework that you are going to do. I have mine out of order. So it is in your book, your workbook. Everything is there. And you are going to identify 3 beliefs that are stopping you from finding true love. And then you're going to reframe them. So you will write the beliefs that are stopping you. This time we're going to start the other way around. So you'll start with your non-dominant hand, because that's the negative thing, right? The negative is the non-dominant, the positive is the dominant. So you're going to write the belief with your non-dominant hand, and then you're going to reframe it with your positive hand. So let's just say that you write, one of the beliefs is that I'm too old and I won't ever, I can't attract the kind of guy I want. And by the way, when you write with your non-dominant hand, it's going to be messy and slow and barely readable. And it's going to bring up, if you're doing it right, some real emotion. It's not just like writing it with your dominant hand. It is going to really hit you in the gut when you write it with your non-dominant hand, because it's going to slow you down and really make you be present with that belief that's holding you back. And then you will switch the pen and you will answer with your dominant hand. So I'm too old to meet a guy that I really like and whatever. And then you write with that loving, beautiful, naked dater, you're not too old. Women can find love at any age. You're just scared. You're just scared. But I'm here for you. I am here for you. I love you. And I want you to have this. And I will do everything in my power to help you find it. That's the voice that you want to develop, that we help you develop in this course, a voice that is so loving, so self-supportive, but realistic at the same time. A voice that says, I know you're scared. that doesn't overlook the pain, that doesn't just put a glossy spin on things, but that also speaks the hard truth. But I know you want this, and I am going to do everything in my power to help you find it. So you got to stop being your own worst frenemy and start being your naked dater so you can let go of the past and find the guardian of your soul. So I want to thank you all so much for being here today. It has been my joy and pleasure to spend this time with each and every one of you. I look forward to seeing some of you on the other side. If that isn't, or if this doesn't align for you, I really think you should also do some journaling tonight on your hidden ambivalence and sign up for your 15-minute call with Diane and Aaron so that you can talk with us and they will help you get the most out of this masterclass. You really want to take advantage of what's here. I want to tell you that of all the things that you will ever do in your life, of all the courses and the books you'll read and the YouTube videos that you'll listen to, just know that finding true love, a guardian of your soul, is the most precious, important work you will ever do. And I will tell you that even if you tried and failed, which I don't believe will happen if you're truly committed, if you quit, if you give up, you won't get there. But if you are truly committed to having this, you can have it. But you have to do the work. And you have to do this for yourself to find the guardian of your soul, because it's the greatest gift you'll ever have in this lifetime. So please come back and see us tomorrow. We will be here at noon Eastern time. That's 9 a.m. Pacific time. We love you. We thank you so much. Please tell all your friends about us. And we will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye, everybody, and have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.